Welcome to the Real Man Podcast. This is your host, Coach Bricks, and I am honored to have one of my former athletes on. And when I started this program up, this is what it was all about, getting some of my athletes on because I'm used to them, number one, and I got to see certain individuals work throughout their time. They might not have been the greatest athlete of all time in that sport, but they demonstrated something to me that goes beyond sports. And I talk about it, and I think this is what goes to the real man. And it's about the work ethic, the desire to be something great. And it might be in a sport, it might be in your career, it might be family life, it might be whatever, but you have those aspirations. And I think we all have those aspirations growing up. And this young gentleman, when he came to me, heck, he was young as all get out. Now he's a grown man, which is great. But I mean, when he came in, he was a young boy. His dad brought him in and that kind of stuff. And I noticed something different about him. He's quiet, extremely quiet, but he just put his head down and worked. He didn't argue. He didn't complain and say, coach isn't doing this for me. When we talk about, playing time and all that, he just went and worked, wanting to get better. And I knew that, if sports didn't work out for him in the future, that he'd have a successful career later on. And that's what he's doing right now. He's an entrepreneur, which I love entrepreneurs, love them. I think that's one of the greatest professions to be in. If you can be an entrepreneur, go do it. Work for yourself. Love what you do. Work hard like this individual's doing. And, and I think that's one of the great things. And this is what this young man is doing here. And I'm really proud to say that I've followed him, throughout his time. Once he left me, he went on to college. He's in college, is finishing up his last semester in mass communications here. But he's a good all-around individual too. And I really appreciate him being on. And without me going on any further, I'm just going to introduce him here. It's Ty Little with Madman Productions, correct?
Madman Studios.
Madman Studios. Okay, yep. Madman Studios. And this guy, as I told him right before we got on, he does everything. So he's the cameraman, the producer, the CEO, has to do it all. And I said, you're doing that now because you're getting started, you're getting everything rolling. I said, eventually you're going to have people working with you. And I said, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world. So Ty, without further ado, man, I appreciate you being on, and thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day. I know with school and running this business. So thank you, my man.
I appreciate you having me on here, Dave.
Nah, man. Hey, I want to get right into it. So I want to know what your definition of leadership is.
I think for me, my definition of leadership is somebody who's not afraid to put their foot forward and just go for whatever they want and be willing to take the heat that come with it. I think a lot of times the difference between a leader and then just somebody who might be popular or might have more money or something like that is just the heart that you have. So I feel like leaders naturally have people that follow them and they inspire other people. So, and also I feel like leaders are also problem solvers and positive people and things like that. And they just want to win and everything.
Yeah.
They look for the lessons and things too as well, but they're also winners. They want to win. And so when I look at leaders in different fields, in basketball, I look at somebody like Kobe, a leader in basketball. When I look at the tech field, I look at somebody like Elon Musk, who's just he's not even worried about the money. He's just leading the way in electronics, just trying to make the world a better place. Or even if you talking on the creative side, you could say somebody like a Stan Lee, who took Marvel to the next level and just led the way with, comic books and stuff like that. And you see where it's at now. So I feel like leadership comes in a lot of different ways.
I agree with you. I think you're exactly right on. And it does come in a lot of different ways. And each one of them, you said they took it and they're leading, you know what I mean? And you look at Elon Musk, prime example, why money's important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not an idiot. Money is definitely important to live and do those things you need to do. But he's just going on what he wants to do. He's trying to, like you said, he's trying to lead a new way to say when people say, hey, you can't build a spaceship to, out to space. He said, I'll show you and I'll prove it to you. He didn't care. There were a lot of haters. And I always tell people, you're in the entrepreneur business and you're probably just starting to get it. You're going to get a lot more as you become successful, and you will. You're going to get a lot of haters. And leaders got to block that out because you're going to get haters from all sides. And the saddest part is you'll probably get haters that you grew up with. that don't like how
Yeah.
successful you will become. And as a leader, that's one of the things that you have to really be able to, block that out, because you still got to go forward. And you're going to see that as you grow up, as you continue to do what you're doing and all those kind of things. But you nailed it right there with a lot of that leadership stuff, where people in different aspects can become leaders, and they lead from the front. And I really like the one thing you said was about lessons. I think so many in this day and age don't learn because they think they know everything. They think they know every single thing that ever came out of, that's on earth, and the only person who knows everything is God, and nobody's
Yeah.
God, and nobody is, at least I've seen. And, that's an important thing to learn, is that you have to learn from your mistakes, your failures. And you probably failed a lot here in the beginning, a lot of things, just like I did. I tell people I failed more than anybody else in this world, but I've learned from it. And that's a great thing you said about leaders. And I think that's one thing that's missing in today's leaders. Like, let me ask you this one. We're talking about leaders and then leadership. What do you think, besides the lesson part, learning that, because we just went over that, what do you think, what else is missing in leaders today? Because I think there's a huge decrease in leadership and leaders.
Yeah. I think patience and compassion for the people that they're working with, and also being willing to collaborate with other people, I think that's missing between leaders. Because it's like, as a leader, you'll want to collaborate with another leader, and then both of your leadership skills are going to get stronger. But I think, at least from what I see, we're in the do-it-yourself era, which is not always the best era to be in. So everybody's like, I want to do it myself. But if you look at history, nothing was done. Nobody did anything by themselves. They always had a team, or they collaborated with somebody else. But I feel like we're in an era right now where people are stuck on just doing things by themselves, and it's hard to be a leader and progress in life when you just working by yourself. So I think that's one of the things that's missing from a lot of leaders right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's excellent.
And then on the side of just like being compassionate for the people that might be following you as a leader. You might have natural leadership skills, but you don't really realize it, and people are following you. And then the way that you're treating these people that are following you is making them not want to follow you anymore, because you might not have the compassion for the way a person might be, when you just got to accept it and just be like, well, if you just keep being you, that person is naturally going to pick up some of your attributes and energy that you're putting out. So I think that's another thing missing with leaders today.
I think that's great. I think they're two great examples. Now, let me ask you this. Who do you see as a leader? You personally, who do you see as a leader? Could be somebody, could be family, could be, somebody in your industry, could be anybody, but I'm just asking personally, who do you see?
First and foremost, I know my father's a leader, and I know that's where, I got it from. And then when I look at just like other people who are in my field, who's like an inspiration to me, I look at people like Jay-Z, Diddy, Barry Gordy, just guys like that. And I feel like those guys they all have something special about them that makes people like me at the age of like 10 just want to follow their whole career. I feel like those are natural born leaders. So I naturally want to follow them at that age. And then when I get to the age where I'm at now, I'm a leader. And, so I hope the same thing can happen with people that see what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Awesome people. Awesome, man. Now, question for you. Self-discipline. What does it mean to you?
I think self-discipline is everything, because once you get past a certain point, your dad can't be waking you up to go to the gym. You either want it or not, I mean, I know, like, for me, when I turned, like, 13, that's when I started taking basketball serious. Before that, it was just, all right, my dad signed me up. He signed me up. But when I turned 13, that's when it was like, all right, I'm going to the gym. I'm waking up at, like, 6:30 a.m. I'm going to the Y. I'm working out 2-3 hours, coming home, eating, doing whatever for the day, and then I got a basketball game with whatever summer league team I'm on later on that day. And that process, the same process went on from when I was 13 all the way till I was really like 19, for real. The same process went on every single day. I played basketball 5, 6, 7 days a week. And it was nobody forced me to do it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to get up, go to the gym, lift weights. I wanted to go work on my legs, my explosion and all that. I wanted to go get 1,000 shots up. And then, like, a lot of times, too, if you don't have self-discipline, then you won't make it far in the field that you want to be in. So I know with me, it was a lot of days where I didn't feel like getting up at, 4:30 in the morning and go shooting before school. But I knew at that time where I was trying to get to and what I had to do to get to that point. So, I made those sacrifices to do that. And I feel I could have taken basketball further if I really wanted to. But then, I see this field right here, and this field I feel like would be a better field for me. So I don't see a problem opening up and going into another field.
No, I agree. And I think what you did is, just watching you in your career, you took that basketball self-discipline at age 13, like you said, getting up at 6:30 in the summers and working out, and then even before school, 4:30. And you took that to what you're doing now. So you set yourself up all the way back then, even though you might not realize it. Sometimes you probably think back, but you're like, man, that set it all up. But you didn't realize at that time that, hey, that was when you set the tone. And that is self-discipline. That's taking that discipline where nobody's forcing you. Nobody's forcing you to be, an entrepreneur, CEO, a producer, all those things. Nobody's forcing you. You're doing it, but you know how hard it is. You were just talking offline here where you were just down in Atlanta promoting. Now you're back up in New York, and you're in school right now. You're doing all this stuff, which, what I mean, that's not easy to do, but that's that self-discipline. So I give you a lot of credit, man. Like I said, wish more people had that self-discipline mindset and attitude. Now I want to get here with more of a personal question. What do you think? I mean, what do you fear? Do you have fear, and what is it?
I can't say that I actually have fear. I actually like just facing things head on, for real. But if I had to say, I would probably say my fear is just being stagnated. I never wanted to ever be stagnated in anything that I did or anything that I do. So I just get up every day. I'm trying to work to just get to the next level and reach the next checkpoint in life. So I just never wanted to be stagnated. And I don't fear being stagnated as if I feel like that's a possibility for me. I fear it just because I've seen what it's done to other people, and I don't want to be like that. I was watching the Bronx Tale the other day, and I remember I think it was Rob De Niro was telling his son the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So I never wanted to be on that side of the coin.
I mean, I think you're right, and I think that stagnation is something that gets to everybody at some point in their life, and the people who know how to fight through it move on and continue to get better, and the other ones stay there and they start to regress, or they get success, hit that success point, and then boom, they get stagnant. And I know you won't let that happen to you because, like I said, you're just driven, crazy driven, which is great. This is a big key term that's been going on, really over the last year, maybe 2 years. And it's this toxic masculinity. I don't know if you heard about it, but everybody's talking about this toxic masculinity. And males can't act a certain way because it's toxic. What do you think about that? I want to get you're a younger guy. I'm a little bit older, and I wanted to get your opinion here.
That's actually funny because my first time hearing about it was like last year. I'm in class and my teacher said something about toxic masculinity. I'm in my head like I know a lot of stuff. I'm like, I'm looking around like, dang, I never even heard of this. And then she explained it. I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, I don't really like it. I feel like it's just I feel like as a man it's hurting our culture as a man because I feel like it's certain things that you're supposed to do or certain ways you're supposed to maneuver, or if you I'm not a father, but if you a father, you have a son, there's certain things that you will want to do with him to it's not even about making somebody manly. It's just something that's natural. So I feel like they're trying to take something that's natural in a man's body and shift it to something that it wasn't designed by nature to do. So I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest. I don't know where the word came from. I don't know. I guess it's, like you said, it's been more popular over like the past 2-3 years or whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely not a fan on it, really.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you 100% on that part of it. When it came out and I heard about it, like 2 years ago, I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Men are men, you know what I mean? And women are women. And it's a great thing. Great thing.
Yeah.
I talk about this on other podcasts, and I talk about this to a lot of my athletes. I said, that's how we complement each other. That's why the world works. It's when one tries to dominate the other, either way, is when society starts to fall apart and starts to strict. But when we work together and do the things that we do best, and it could be a man. Like, listen, my dad was a great cook, phenomenal. Now, growing up, a lot of my other friends, the mother was a good cook, but my dad was phenomenal. Now, my mom cooked, but my dad was, on another level. There were other things that my mom did extremely well, but they worked together and they did stuff. And I think that's lost. You know what I mean? Well, men shouldn't do this because it's toxic or something. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I agree with you. I think we got to get out of that realm. Like you said, it's natural men to be men, respectful, but men and do manly things, do different things that are different than females. And that's fine. So I agree. I'm with you on that. What does mental toughness mean to you?
I think mental toughness actually ties into discipline, because I think when you're mentally tough, you could just fight through every obstacle and everything that's thrown at you. It's hard to be successful in any field without being mentally tough. It's like when you lift from weights and you have to do 12 reps, are you going to try and get out 15 of them? I feel like that's mental toughness. Or, you hit the free throw line and you got 15 points already. You try and get to 20. You got to make these next 2 free throws, and the crowd is going crazy. And you just missed the last 2 free throws you shot. Making the next 2 is going to be up to your mental toughness. It's not even about the mechanics of your shot. It's just about your mental toughness at that point. So it's like, even with producing, like, I feel like this is like all mental toughness. So a lot of times producers might, sit in front of a computer for hours and they might not be able to come up with anything for a record, for a song. And they just keep trying to keep batting their head trying to do it. But I feel like when you just sit back and then just look at it for how simple it really is, or even just walk away and then come right back, I feel like that's a form of mental toughness, being able to know how to get out of when you have like a producer block, being able to know how to get out of that and still push through and create something that's great. So I feel like it's a lot of different things that's like, in that field.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, another little more personal question for you. What's one of your biggest failures / learning experiences in life?
I feel like one of my biggest failures, or I would say learning. One of my biggest learning experiences in life was probably when I made that transition from when I was in high school from New Hope in 9th grade. We won, district championship and all that, to transfer into Susquehanna after that, because that was something that I couldn't avoid, transfer. I didn't want to transfer, but unfortunately the school had got shut down where we was at, and everybody was forced to go different ways. So now I'm coming into a program where I wasn't raised in this program. I didn't come up with any of these guys for real. And it's just a whole different energy at the program at the time. So I feel like just adjusting to that, and I feel like that was just a big obstacle to overcome, just adjusting to that. It wasn't even the play style or nothing like that. It was more like on the mental side. you know, being around different energy and stuff like that, and dealing with better energy that I had before versus the energy that I was coming into. I feel like just adjusting to different people's energies on different teams, I feel like that was a big obstacle for me to overcome, because it's like, if you're not careful, a lot of times you'll pick up the energy that somebody else is putting out that might not be the best for you. So I feel like that was just one of the biggest obstacles to overcome on a lot of different situations that I've been in.
Awesome. Go to the other end of the spectrum. I want to know one of your biggest growths in life. Where did you see the biggest growth happen?
Really, where I say one of the biggest growths happen, I'm gonna say playing AAU basketball. Really, I saw a lot of growth. 'Cause I feel like, you know, the teams I played on, I played for Team PA, Charlie Fortney's team, and I played for I did a tournament with another team called Maryland 3D, who at the time was EYBL. So that's like, for anybody that don't know, that's like, you know, Nike certified. So I feel like playing at the high level that I was playing at on that side, and then the showcase camps that I was going to, like the Pangos All-American and 5-Star and stuff like that, I feel like that's where I seen the like some of my biggest wins in life. I felt like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I was doing was getting acknowledged by people who I felt like, or who I know for a fact are like stamped in the basketball industry. And even when it got to like my senior year and I got nominated for the McDonald All-American. So even though I'm not in the game, just that nomination to me means that somebody seen what I was doing and they acknowledged that. So I feel like that's probably one of my biggest wins right there.
Awesome. What did you learn from that? Because, you know, I've seen you grow. Like I said, I've seen you grow up and stuff like that. But what did you learn from that experience to make that such a big growth?
I learned that the biggest lesson I learned from that is that nobody can hold, if you really want something, nobody can ever hold you back. No matter what they might be trying to do, nobody can ever hold you back from what you really want and what, you know, was destined for you. So if I take it and I throw it on the entertainment side that we're doing, although we might not be noticed by certain people right now, if we keep working and keep doing the right things, the right person is going to notice, that can take us to that next level. And, you know, all it takes is just one person to notice, and it could change a person's life.
No, I agree with you. And I think that's key. Because, you know, when I was thinking back to some of the things when I was come up with this question, I was thinking about when you made the transition from Norfolk State to go to Delaware State. And you, like you said, you talked about changing your major and stuff like that, and then opening your business. When you decided to take that leap of faith, where not many people do, let's be honest, not many people going to be entrepreneurs because it's tough. And we talked about that, you know, you have to put money up, and if you lose the money, you lost it. Nobody else lost it. You lost it. Ain't nobody coming to bail you out, you know? And that's one of the, you know, that was one of my biggest growths, you know, working 2 or 3 different jobs at the time, trying to open this up. And it was a struggle, but you know, I saw that when I would see certain things that you post and stuff. And I said, that's going to be one of his growing experiences right there, you know? And you took that, you're continuing to run with it. And I think that's, you know, really, really important. What do you think drives most men of today? You know, what really is driving men today that you see? Because I mean, you're out there in the community. You know, I see, like I said, the pictures you go to. You're down in Atlanta, up in New York. You know, seeing things. You know, trying to, you know, promote your business and all that kind of stuff. So, what do you think drives most men today?
I had to say, I think from my generation, a lot of things that's driving people is just the ability to be able to do what you love to do on your own time. I think people want the freedom to do that. I think on the other end, that's not, you know, on the end that's not entrepreneur like, I feel like what's driving those people is, I'm gonna do a job that I really like, you know, and that way I don't got to deal with a boss that, you know, he's on me 24/7, and I don't like that job. I feel like that's two negative things. But if you got a boss that's, he's on you and you like the job, then you might be like, okay, well, he's on me because he wants me to, be better. And I want to be better at this job anyway. So I'm going to work a little harder. I'm going to put in a little extra work. But, it's completely different when you don't like the job. So I feel like the freedom is driving a lot of men today. On the entrepreneur side, it's like you wanna be able to wake up and just be like, okay, let me check with my business, how we're doing today. I want to check the numbers. I want to go sit down here, have a meeting. I feel like those type of things is driving people, at least the people that I see,
That's awesome. Now, last question here. I want to know your main three characteristics of being a real man.
I think my first one is like perseverance, really. I feel like when you can just get through things and just keep pushing through, I feel like that's like a manly trait, I had to say, also I had to say part of being a man is just being able to accept when you're wrong and, just owning up to being wrong. I feel like a lot of times people are, they don't want to admit they're wrong, and they might make a situation worse than what it really is just off the fact that they didn't want to admit that. And I don't feel like that's a manly trait, I also feel like part of being a man is really supporting other people who might be doing better than you, because that's accepting your pride. So it's like if somebody else is playing the same sport as you, might be playing the same position, this person might have just got an offer before you. You don't have to be jealous of that. That just means that you can go back in. You can say, okay, cool, this person just did that. That's great. Now you go back in and work harder, because it's not even about trying to hate on that person or nothing like that. It's just about, okay, let me go back in the gym. Let me go back and put something together and get better. So I can add more to that too. I feel like another thing that makes you a man is like being able to just control situations and and show that and exert the energy that you're that guy in the room. Sometimes people might walk in and get real timid in situations and stuff like that. I'm not saying walk in and poke your chest out or anything like that if that's not you. But I'm just saying walking into a situation and just knowing that nobody's going to punk you around the situation, or I've seen this. It's people that people intimidate them into signing contracts and stuff like that, or their girl might be intimidating to them, and off of that they don't say anything at all. They just let she might run the relationship when it really should be the other way around, or it should be like a 50-50. So I feel like just looking at it from that angle is contributes to being a man.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I like that. I like that a lot. I think you went into good detail on each one of them and explained it out and gave great examples. I think that's very, very important for the young men of today to understand, what you got to look at. It's a whole picture. It's a whole puzzle you're trying to put together throughout life. And the life is guided by, firstly, should be guided by God, number one, and then guided by other good men. If you're a man, you got to go and find other good people. And I think that's sometimes what we're missing, because we don't know where to look. And a lot of men who are successful and good sometimes don't take the time to mentor, or give back to the younger guys. And so then they go and look for the popular guy, which might not be the best example, or they fall into a trap of their buddies who aren't going anywhere, and that's what they're following. So I think you nailed it right there with, having to be yourself, persevere, accept those things, The humble, I think, is very, very key because, like I said, we talked about it off air. You know, too much pride going on nowadays with everybody thinking they're the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm.
And people just need to be like, hey, listen, yeah, I'm good, but I could always be better.
And I think social media is messing up a lot of masculinity for real. Because I think, you know, I just know being in public relations, it's all about propaganda. And they show you certain things, and even like just going down like little kids on the TV, they showing you certain things in cartoons now. It's different from when I was younger. They showing you things in cartoons that you probably shouldn't see at that age. And then on the social media, and you just see men that have a name do feminine things, you know, every day. They don't even realize it, you know. And I think people who are fans of them are seeing it, and they're like, well, this person does it, so it must be cool to do it. But then when that person really ain't even have a role model or somebody that they could look up to be like, this ain't cool doing something, you know, acting this way or doing it like this. But social media is just like, it's just trendy. People just see things on there. Even though you're running the business, I had to be on there because you're running the business. But if I didn't need social media to do the business, I probably wouldn't even be on it for real. I would just only watch funny videos for real. I wouldn't even really be on it like that.
No, I'm with you on that. I really, I'm hoping here in the next couple of years, I'm all for good. I'm tired of it and stuff like that. So I agree with you. I agree. I think social media is definitely taking us to a whole other realm that I don't think many of us saw when it first came out. It was a great platform to be able to stay in communication with people. You know, college, you're going here, going there. It was great and easy, but it's morphed into something totally different. And I agree with you. And I think, you know, people need to stop always following. And I talked about it today on one of my things. I did a story on Instagram. You got to be sometimes a lone wolf. And you can't always follow the crowd, you know, and you're not always going to be liked. And I think that's what people today always want to be. They want to be liked by everybody. But as you know, because being an entrepreneur and being, you know, basketball guy, and I know you growing up, there's going to be people that just don't like you. No matter what you do, you could try to please everybody on that side and everybody on this side, and you're not going to please them, no matter what you do. So you just got to go and be yourself and be that good, responsible, moral person who is getting the job done and, you know, respecting it and hopefully setting up that next generation of men to do the same. Well, man, Ty, I appreciate you being on, man. It was great to connect. Like I said, I haven't talked to you in a little while. Like I said, I followed you, but it's good to see your face, you know, and all this stuff. And I'm glad you said one of your first people that you said was your hero was your dad, because I have mad respect for your dad. Your dad's a great man who I highly admire. I think he's a great guy. And it's a great role model for you. You know, you're blessed to have him as a guy who reared you growing up. And I know he wasn't easy on you. I know that for a fact. But look at the reward, though. You're rewarding because of what he did. And, you know, I always tell a lot of my, you know, the men who come into the gym, you know, hey, you got a dad, follow. They've been there. Most dads out there, you know, want the best for you guys. And even though it might be difficult and hard at times, they know what's best. I always told my dad when I did it, I didn't think my dad knew anything. Looking back on it, my dad knows everything. You know, in my opinion, he's the smartest man I know. Hard worker, continues to work, and he's 80 years old. Continues to work pretty much full time. You know what I mean? So, man, but I do appreciate. Best of luck with that business. Like I said, follow this man, because I tell you, he will be successful. His work ethic will not let him fail, and I'm proud that I had a little opportunity when he was younger to be able to, you know, work with you, talk to you, and all that kind of stuff growing up. And like I said, best to you, man. If you need anything, I always said, please reach out. Don't hesitate one bit.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. You take care, Todd.
Same.